Today we'll cover the series Courage the Cowardly Dog from beginning to end in detail. We'll also answer questions like how was Courage adopted and what tragic events led to Eustace's grumpy attitude. Alright, so the show is all about Courage, this little pink doggo who's pretty shy and timid. He lives with his owners Muriel and Eustace Baggy in Baggy Farmhouse, which is located in this weird town called Nowhere. Yep, that's the name of the place. Courage is like the ultimate protective pup when it comes to Muriel, who's this sweet Scottish lady. He's always on the lookout to save her from all sorts of creepy and crazy stuff. We're talking supernatural creatures and all kinds of spooky things. But let's not forget about Eustace, the not-so-friendly fellow who's sometimes not too nice to Courage. Poor dog's got to deal with all kinds of weird and menacing adventures, all to keep Muriel safe and sound. But that begs the question, how did Muriel and Eustace find Courage? Well, for that, we have to go to the episode Remembrance of Courage Past. In multiple flashbacks, we get to see young Courage playing with his loving parents, having a ball of a time. But things take a turn when he gets his head stuck in a gatepost and his parents rush him to a vet. This vet, who goes by the name of Cruel Veterinarian, asks to speak to Courage's parents privately. As you can see, the writers went really creative on the names. To keep little Courage busy, the vet gives him a lollipop, but it turns into a sticky mess. Poor puppy runs back to his parents, but they're gone. He hears their desperate cries as the vet takes them away in a net. Can you imagine how terrified he must have been? Courage follows the trail and finds some crazy stuff behind doors, like a lady showering, a weird giraffe, and a giant ostrich. Like, how bizarre is that? He then stumbles upon a room with caged dogs and finally sees his parents being taken away in a net. He follows them to see that the doctor has locked them up in a spaceship and is about to send them into space. Courage tries his best, but unfortunately he can't rescue them. Heartbroken and scared, Courage escapes through a garbage to a back alley where he sees the rocket fly away into space. Devastated, he sits in the alley crying until he is found by Muriel Baggy. She takes him in, names him Courage, and becomes his new loving owner, bringing some much-needed comfort to our little pink hero. And ever since, he has become an integral member of their family, saving them from all sorts of shenanigans that happens in the middle of nowhere. Oh man, Courage is such a scaredy dog. Like, seriously, he gets frightened by pretty much anything and everything. But you know what's amazing about him? When it comes to his owners or friends being in trouble, he becomes this fearless hero. He does live up to his name Courage in those moments. Even though his reactions can be a bit irrational at times, he's always ready to put his fears aside and save the day. Especially when it comes to protecting his beloved owner, Muriel, he's like a furry little guardian angel. Courage has also shown some supernatural abilities throughout the show. Do you know what's really wild about Courage? It's that crazy scream of his. Like, he can let out such a loud scream that it can actually bust open a wooden floor. I remember seeing that in Ball of Revenge. It was nuts. Courage's screams are so powerful that they can even destroy planetary bodies and stars, like in that episode The Magic Tree of Nowhere. Courage can also take an insane amount of damage without even flinching. In Courage vs. Mecha Courage, he got attacked by Mecha Courage and just brushed it off like it was nothing. And that's not all. Courage is seriously strong and fast too. Remember when he hopped all the way to Paris like a kangaroo monster in The Transplant? Crazy, right? But wait, there's more. In stormy weather, he lifted this massive god bone that was way bigger than him and then used it to smash 3 dog skeletons. I'm telling you, this pup is a force to be reckoned with. Now let's talk about Eustace and what is the reason behind his grumpy and mean behavior. Eustace is seriously cynical and fed up with everything around him. You'll often find him sitting in his trusty red chair reading the Nowhere news or glued to his beloved TV, which he treasures more than anything. Money, money, money. That's Eustace's main obsession. He's always on the lookout for ways to make a quick buck and never seems satisfied. Poor Courage is his favorite target of frustration, and he never misses a chance to call him a stupid dog. Stupid dog. Yep, Eustace is definitely not a fan of our lovable pink pup. But his irritation with Courage stems from a delicate place. It's his jealousy over Muriel's undying affection for the little guy. So he enjoys messing with Courage to vent his annoyance or just for kicks. If there's one thing you can count on, it's Eustace's grumpiness and constant mischief towards poor Courage. But then again, why is he this way? Well, it is mainly because of his troubled childhood. He's been living in the shadows of his mean-spirited brother Horst, who used to be a hunter and outshined him in everything. Even after his death, Eustace had not gotten over the trauma that Horst gave him and wants to prove to himself that he is in some way better than him. And let's not forget about the not-so-loving treatment from his mother and neglect from his father. In the Mother's Day episode, we see just how poorly she treated poor Eustace. He is clearly afraid of her and even hesitates to visit her without Muriel by his side. And can you believe it? Ma Baggy has the nerve to treat Courage with more love and care than her own son. It's pretty heartbreaking to see Eustace being mistreated like that. She's all sweet and nice to Courage, but when it comes to Eustace, she's nothing but mean and bossy. To make matters worse, she doesn't even call him by his name. Nope, it's stupid boy for Eustace. And if that's not bad enough, she even takes pleasure in scaring him with the same mask he uses to scare Courage. It's like she enjoys tormenting her own son. No wonder he grew up with a lot of resentment towards others, and treats Courage exactly like he was treated by his mama. As for his father, Ichabod Baggy, not much is known about him. However, he is mentioned in the episode The Sand Whale Strikes when a giant green whale shows up and demands his accordion, which his father stole from him. We also learned that Ichabod had a small rowboat that he used to chase the whale across the dunes. Now Eustace might act like he's got it all together, but deep down he's in denial about his lack of abilities, talent, charm, and knowledge. But that won't stop him from thinking he can fix anything, even though it usually ends up as a major disaster. He claims to be a farmer with a green thumb, but truth be told, he can't even grow weeds properly on the Baggy farmhouse. His excuse is blaming the bad soil, but the spirit of the harvest moon reveals it's because Eustace doesn't respect his land at all. As if that's not enough, Eustace has got a massive case of greed. He'll do anything, even illegal and dangerous stuff, to get paid. Clean money? Nah, he's not too concerned about that. This guy's all about seizing opportunities to fill his pockets no matter the consequences. Yep, he's a real piece of work. However, the Curse of Shirley really gave us a glimpse into a different side of Eustace. Underneath all that anger and tough exterior, there's a vulnerable side to him. In that episode, we get to see him open up about feelings like a helpless little kid with nowhere to go. And guess what? It's probably the first and only time we see him smile throughout the entire show. It's like there is a genuinely nice person hidden beneath all the trauma and pain from his childhood. It's heartwarming to see that there is more to Eustace than just meets the eye. You know, Eustace might act like a grumpy old man most of the time, but there are moments that show he does have some feelings deep down. Take the bad hair episode. When Muriel gets kidnapped, he's more concerned about who will make the dinner than her being in danger, which sounds pretty heartless. Later, when he finds out that she was taken in for an experiment, he says that the company will pay for taking Muriel, in cash. However, in the episode McPherson Phantom, it is evident that he in fact does care about her in his own way. He even goes as far as going against his own mother, who wants to kick her out. And while we're on the topic, let's talk about Muriel. Muriel is such a sweet and caring soul. I know, it's hard to believe that she ended up with Eustace, who's basically her opposite. But you know what they say, opposites attract. In one episode, little Muriel, we get a glimpse of her as a child after a tornado hits her and turns her into a 3-year-old. Courage takes it upon himself to look after her, and let me tell you, little Muriel is quite a handful. She becomes all selfish, hyperactive, and hard to handle, and Courage has his work cut out for him. Eventually, he comes up with a plan to reverse the age changing and sends Muriel back into the tornado. Don't worry, it's all safe and sound, and she comes out back to her usual sweet self. It's pretty cute seeing Muriel as a child, but I'm glad she's back to her normal age and still spreading her kindness all around nowhere. Muriel and Eustace are quite the pair. Despite Eustace's grumpy nature, Muriel truly loves him, and you can see that in the way she cares for him. But hey, she's no pushover. When Eustace crosses the line, she's not afraid to give him a good whack with her trusty rolling pin. Like that time in Ball of Revenge when she made him sleep on the floor for scaring Courage. But when Eustace is in real trouble, Muriel's love and concern for him really shine through. In Queen of the Black Puddle, she was super worried about his erratic behavior, and when he got kidnapped, she couldn't hold back her tears. Of course, once Eustace was back, she let him have it for being reckless. Oh, Muriel's love for Courage is just so heartwarming. She treats him like her own child, and you can see how much she adores him. Whenever Courage is in danger, she's not afraid to get fierce and go after the bad guys, just like in Muriel Meets Her Match. When she went after the villains who kidnapped Courage, and she's always there to support him, like in the Ball of Revenge when she cheered him on even when she was all chained up. Muriel's a true mama bear when it comes to Courage, and their bond is just so sweet to see. You wouldn't guess it, but Muriel's got some serious artistic talent up her sleeve too. She's a pro at playing the sitar and the piano. She plays the sitar to unwind, but in Courage in the Big Stinkin' City, she blew everyone away with her sitar skills, winning a contest and giving a mind-blowing performance in New York. And get this, in the episode Record Deal, she just casually wowed the crowd with a stunning piano performance, even though she didn't practice or anything beforehand. She can also be seen driving Eustace's truck in the episode A Night at the Motel. She is just one multi-talented individual. Speaking of multi-talented, the Baggy family also owns a computer. Now, don't be fooled by its appearance, because this bad boy holds all the secrets of the universe. It's the family's trusty desktop residing in the attic, and Courage always turns to it for help. It's an AI with a wide range of appearance, sometimes being a loyal buddy to Courage, while other times it takes on the role of the main bad guy, like in Mega Muriel the Magnificent. You never know what to expect with the computer, but it sure adds some excitement to Courage's adventures. Pretty cool that the writers predicted the wide use of AI even back in the day. The computer sure knows how to dish out some interesting advice. In the shadow of Courage, Courage is having some problems with his shadow, and it suggests having a friendly chat with the spooky shadow or finding a new place to live. And in The Demon in the Mattress, when Muriel gets possessed, Courage turns to the trusty old computer for help. It prints out an incantation, and Courage performs the exorcism like a pro, freeing Muriel from that pesky demon. Then, in Night of the Wormhole, Muriel falls sick, and of course, our hero Courage goes straight to the computer for answers. And what does it say? Muriel's been bitten by a wormhole. No worries though, the cure is just a hair away. Courage sets out to retrieve that magical hair and save the day. As I mentioned earlier, he's not always the good guy. In the Mega Muriel the Magnificent, the computer starts bragging about being courageous and says it would show us what it really means. Then, thanks to a power surge caused by a lightning, it comes to life and takes over Muriel's body. Things get wild as the possessed Muriel starts doing crazy stunts, putting herself in danger, but Courage, being the brave little guy he is, figures out how to free her from the computer's control. Speaking of adventures, let's delve into some of the wildest adventures of Courage, Muriel, and Eustace. So, this one time, Courage is just taking a chill nap when this masked woman shows up out of nowhere, swinging a wash basin at him, claiming dogs are evil. Crazy, right? But Muriel, being her sweet self, thinks they're just playing and invites the mask to stay with them. During lunch, the woman named Kitty spills her guts about her friend Bunny, who's stuck in an abusive relationship with a gangster dude called Mad Dog. Bunny tried to escape, but it didn't end well, leaving Kitty heartbroken and on the move, hoping to find her friend again. After Kitty settles in, things take a weird turn. She starts attacking Courage while he's minding his own business, watching TV or doing his doggy duties. Muriel, as caring as ever, sets up a room for Kitty in the garret. But here's where it gets creepy. Courage starts spying on Kitty and sees her playing with a toy mouse from Bunny. But guess what? Kitty takes off her mask and he finds out that she is actually a cat. Now our little Courage is convinced the mask is evil and he goes all out to protect his family. He even locks them all in their rooms while he goes on a mission to snatch that toy mouse as evidence. Courage drives to the diner and gets some insider info from Charlie the Mouse. Turns out, Bunny's been trapped in Mad Dog's apartment. Meanwhile, back at the farmhouse, Muriel, Eustace, and Kitty are trying to escape their locked rooms. Finally, Courage finds Bunny and rescues her from the clutches of that nasty Mad Dog. Bunny and Kitty reunite and are so grateful for Courage's help. Kitty finally realizes that not all dogs are bad, and the episode ends on a cheerful note. In another thrilling and spine-chilling episode, two feline grave robbers steal an Egyptian stone slab from King Ramses' tomb and try to hide it at Baggy's water pump. But things take a spooky turn when King Ramses himself shows up, demanding the return of his precious slab or else face his curse. The confused thieves get swarmed by locusts, which devour them in their car. Courage watches with curiosity but doesn't dig deeper until the next morning when his curiosity gets the best of him and he unearths the thing. It's got Ramses, water, a record player, and locusts on it. Courage shows it to Muriel and Eustace, but Eustace just tosses it away, calling it garbage. But things take a wild turn when they find out it's worth $1 million. Suddenly, Eustace changes his mind, and Courage sees the Ramses symbol disappearing from the slab, which freaks him out. So that night gets even crazier. The ghost of Ramses shows up and gives Eustace an ultimatum. He wants his slab back or else he'll unleash some nasty plagues on them. Eustace, thinking it's just a trick, asks for an offer and shuts the door on the ghost. But oh boy, things escalate quickly. First, the water disappears from the slab, and the house starts filling up with water. Muriel's in trouble, but Courage saves the day by draining all the water. Then the second plague hits, and the record player symbol vanishes. The house gets filled with this annoying King Ramses, the man in gaze, on repeat. Eustace plugs his ears, leaving Muriel in agony, but Courage finds the source and stops the noise. The ghost won't give up, and Muriel urges Eustace to return the slab, but he still wants to get paid before doing anything. The ghost then unleashes the final plague, those creepy locusts. The insects start devouring the house, and Muriel is trying to cope with the stress by cooking. Courage and Eustace get into a struggle over the slap, but when Eustace realizes they're in big trouble, he finally gives in and tosses the artifact to Ramses, breaking the curse. But guess what? Eustace takes the slap back and taunts Ramses, thinking he's powerless now. Big mistake. Ramses summons the locusts again and Eustace gets devoured. In the aftermath of the locust rampage, we learn that the slap is back where it belongs in Egypt, safe and sound. And get this, the final scene shows Eustace's face on Ramses' sarcophagus. Looks like his greed got him some spooky punishment. In the episode The Tower of Dr. Zalist, we follow a character named Dr. Zalist suffering from depression. Dr. Zalist comes out with his Unhappy Cannonballs project and demands a huge sum of money from the mayor of nowhere. The mayor and his advisor laugh it off, thinking it's just a joke, but Zalist warns that if they don't pay up, he'll make the whole town unhappy. The mayor jokes back, saying that they're already unhappy because of the high taxes. Ha, good one, Mr. Mayor. But Zalist is undeterred and releases the cannonballs, leaving everyone in town except the mayor and his advisor in a deep state of depression. The mayor gives in to Zalist's demands, but to their surprise, he won't undo the sadness because money didn't bring him happiness. As the events unfold, Courage is busy helping Muriel with her special happy plums, believed to bring happiness to anyone who tries them. Meanwhile, Eustace grows impatient waiting for the newspaper and decides to fetch it himself. However, he's in for a surprise when he discovers that no papers have been printed. On his way back to the farm, Eustace encounters Zalist's obstructive tower and honks his frustration at it, catching Zalist's attention. Following Eustace back to the farm, Zalist unleashes his cannonballs targeting the town. To everyone's surprise, the cannonballs leave Eustace seemingly unfazed, as if he's immune to emotions. While Courage manages to dodge the cannonballs, Muriel unfortunately gets struck and falls into a deep state of sadness. In a daring move, Courage manages to sneak into the tower, with Eustace reluctantly lending a hand. Inside, Courage discovers a massive room filled with stacks of cannonballs and a mysterious cauldron brimming with green liquid responsible for turning ordinary cannonballs into unhappy ones. Suddenly, Rat appears and confronts Courage, leading to a chaotic scuffle. Thinking on his feet, Courage uses the cannonballs to his advantage and accidentally hits Rat with one, transforming him into a monstrous, menacing rat. In a stroke of luck, Courage uses Muriel's happy plums to revert Rat back into an adorable baby rat wearing a diaper and neutralizing the threat. As Courage bravely makes his way to the tower's keep, he falls into a cunning trap set by Dr. Zalist. The doctor presents a dangerous challenge. If Courage can win a game of hangman before the cannon fires, he'll cure Muriel. However, after some hilarious attempts and even trying to buy vowels, Courage finally guesses the word boom without following the usual hangman rules. Accusing Courage of cheating, Zalist begins firing the cannon at him. In a desperate move, Courage hurls a cup of happy plums at Zalist, but it accidentally lands in the cauldron. Chaos ensues as the liquid turns pink and starts shooting out cheerful pink cannonballs, leaving Courage clinging to the edge of the staircase in the midst of the wild commotion. As the tower crumbles and shoots out pink cannonballs like a joyful volcano, happiness is restored to all of nowhere. Courage emerges from the rubble holding the baby rat in a pink cannonball. Zalist follows him back to the house, still holding his last unhappy cannonball. Courage uses his cannonball to heal Muriel and then rushes into the kitchen. Zalist's cannonball hits Eustace, who becomes seemingly petrified. Courage and Muriel seek shelter under the table while Zalist is momentarily distracted by the plums on the table. He decides to try them, and to everyone's surprise, the happy plums cure his depression. In the end, we see Dr. Zalist hugging the now happy baby rat as the once gloomy villain finds his own moment of joy and contentment. And lastly, once on their way back home from a trip, Muriel, Eustace, and Courage have to take shelter at the Cat's Motel due to a storm. But there's a catch: no dogs allowed. So poor Courage has to sleep outside. Things take a creepy turn when mysterious events start happening. A massive spider is unleashed on Courage, and another one surprises Muriel in the bathtub. Courage springs into action to find his owners and protect them from the creepy critters. It's a spooky and suspenseful night at the Cat's Motel. After hearing Muriel's screams, Courage rushes to her rescue and finds her being attacked by a monstrous spider that came up through the toilet. Muriel tells Courage to wake Eustace, but his attempts fail as Eustace mysteriously disappears through a hidden door in his bed. Courage realizes something is seriously wrong and heads to the lobby for help, only to find it deserted. As he explores further, he comes across another room covered in spiderwebs where an unconscious Eustace is about to become the meal of an even larger spider. Courage takes quick action, crushing the creature and saving Eustace. As he carries the still sleeping Eustace to safety, Cuts, the motel owner, blocks their escape. In a desperate move, Courage tosses Eustace's bound form at Cuts, trying to escape with both of his owners. In a desperate attempt to escape, Courage hides in the motel's basement only to discover it's filled with Kotz's creepy spiders. Frightened, Courage bursts through the door, accidentally knocking it onto Kotz, but the villain quickly recovers. Kotz corners Courage in another part of the basement and challenges him to a game of handball for his freedom. Meanwhile, Muriel manages to defeat the spider, attacking her by flushing it down the toilet. Back in the basement, Kotz wins the game and tries to smother Courage with a spider. Just when things seem dire, Muriel comes to the rescue, whacking Kotz with a badminton racket and saving Courage. The trio quickly leaves the motel with Muriel expressing her dissatisfaction with the terrible service they received. A Night at the Kotz Motel is totally one of the top episodes in Courage the Cowardly Dog. It's not often that you see a pilot that's this good and really captures the essence of the whole series. The creepy vibes along with Courage's brave yet nervous personality make it a total classic. Courage the Cowardly Dog is one-of-a-kind animated series that masterfully blends horror, humor, and surrealism. It's a show that manages to captivate both kids and adults with its eerie atmosphere and dark humor. Each episode offers a creepy and imaginative storyline where Courage faces his fears head-on, making it thrilling and suspenseful. Courage himself is just a lovable character representing the universal theme of conquering fears for the ones we care about. The show's supporting cast, like Muriel and Eustace, adds some charm and quirkiness to the mix. But what sets it apart is the variety of animation styles, which enhances the surreal experience. From traditional animation to stop-motion sequences, it's visually captivating. Though not for the faint of heart, its messages of courage, love, and loyalty make it a valuable watch for older kids and adults. The show's devoted fanbase and ongoing popularity prove its impact on the world of animation. In conclusion, Courage the Cowardly Dog is a must-see for those looking for a quirky, unconventional series that combines bravery and the power of family bonds with a delightful touch of spooky fun. If you enjoyed our little recap and analysis,